We meet Gabriel. He's taken a mission from the French government to extract 2 Syrian hackers. This French cat is spearheading the mission off the books. Gabriel gets the hackers' passports and directions to the pickup spot. Well, let's just say the extraction went bad. The hackers do a U-turn and go for plan B. Meanwhile, in London, this bigwig is notified that the people responsible for the country's security just got hacked themselves. This dude, the head of security, he's like, it's no big deal. Probably just some kids playing around on the internet. Allison, the assistant to the bigwig, is thinking, this dude is a fucking idiot. Turns out she's right. Soon after, the flood barriers in London won't raise due to a computer hack, and the city floods. They send Allison out to investigate. Computer head is like, old software. That's it, old software. They should have set it up to automatic updates and this wouldn't have happened. Man, I tell you, this dude. The Syrian hackers make it to the Turkey border. They use the old $20 handshake and manage to cross. They arrive in London and make plans to meet up with England's security department. Apparently, they hacked some of Assad's police files. It's got some juicy information that the French don't want released. The French cat gets word that the hackers are in London and sends our boy Gabriel after them. I know the last time we saw our boy, he was in some deep shit. I won't go into the details, just accept that he got out of the situation. He catches one of the hackers and he gets the USB drive with the data that the French government wanted. However, the other hacker is still out there alive, so Gabriel's mission continues. The English get word that Gabriel is in London. He's no stranger to them. They want him eliminated, but he has diplomatic immunity. They're gonna need some fancy-ass attorney to get that removed. That's where this cat comes in. He's Daniel, Allison's old man. He gives her the good news about this high-level assignment he just received. She tells him that they picked him for this shady assignment because he's a brother and he'll get less blowback if the shit goes upside down. He's like, why can't you be happy for a brother for just once? He leaves, and old boy Gabriel shows up outside of Allison's window, and they're looking at each other like they have some sort of history. The French president finds out that Gabriel has been spotted by the English. He doesn't want any of this on his hands. Didier tells him not to worry because this mission was off the books and it can't get back to him. Allison and Gabriel meet up. Gabriel cannot open the files on the USB drive without the hacker's fingerprints. He wants Allison to tell him where he can find the hacker. Meanwhile, there's another hacker attack in London. This time the hacker takes over the railway control center and causes 2 trains to collide head-on. In the first episode, I was confused by the hacker activity. Here's what I think is going on. The 2 hackers from Syria are not the ones causing the accidents in England. They found information about these upcoming attacks, and that's when they contacted the French. They found information about these attacks and wanted to tell the French about it. But when Gabriel's extraction went bad, they no longer trusted the French. That's when they decided to go to London and work with their security agency. Currently, the hacker who escaped, Samir, has made it back to France. The other hacker, Walid, who I thought Gabriel had killed, is actually held up in a hospital. Gabriel manages to find him in the hospital room, and just as he's about to get his fingerprints, Allison shows up. They tussle for a while, but then almost end up kissing. Allison is a messy girl. Back in France, their president is worried that these attacks are going to start happening in Paris. He agrees to work with the English to catch the hackers. However, Didier is not happy about this information. He goes to this guy, and they agree that this work between the English and the French has to be stopped. Didier makes a visit to this woman. She's the head of cybersecurity in France. She's also his baby's mama. He gets her to agree that there will be no agreement between the English and the French. Gabriel is back in France. He meets with his handler. They discuss how Allison ratted him out in the past. She even pinned a death on him. They get information on the location of Samir's wife. If they grab her, Then they can draw Samir out of hiding. The English prepare to go to Brussels to sign the agreement with the French. Gabriel goes undercover to meet Sabine. They want to find out what her connection is to Didier. Gabe meets Miriam in an asylum camp. He arranges to get her out, but some goons grab her. He fights the goons and manages to get Miriam in his car. But right before he takes off, they tase him in the back. He passes out at the wheel and Miriam has to steer the car. She steers them into a wall. She gets Gabriel's phone and calls Allison to help them. The computer guy Bolton meets with Bob. Turns out the disasters in London are related to Bob's business. Bolton is the two-faced weasel who is working with him. After managing to get to the safety of a hotel, Allison helps pull the tasers out of Gabriel's back. She also informs him that they're going to have to cut off communication with one another as she's going to be getting married to Daniel. There's another attack in London. Richard puts pressure on Allison and Bolton to get the security agreement signed with the French. But Sabine stops them from meeting up with her boss. No deal. They manage to get by Sabine's interference and meet with her boss, who agrees to sign the deal. Didier finds out and he's pissed about this. He calls Bob and lets him know that they have failed. The next day, the parties are to meet for the signing. The boss is there, Allison is there, but Bolton is MIA. Allison takes a break in the bathroom and sees the same goons who tried to grab Miriam. She goes to check an open stall and sees Bolton hanging from the ceiling. In episode 1, there's a whole lot of setup. You have a lot of characters in various locations. Sometimes you don't know if you're in London or Paris or somewhere in Syria. There's 3 different languages being spoken. You got English and French and Arabic. So it can be really confusing. You got hackers who are on the run, and then you have hackers who are attacking, and you don't know which is which, if they have anything to do with each other. So it's an episode you really have to pay close attention, and even by the time it ends, you're still in a state of confusion. And I'm not saying you have to know everything that a show is about after the first episode. It's just with this one, there's really not enough to know if it's going to be a good show or not. In episode 2, some of the pieces come together, but it still doesn't really clear the confusion. We get more information that Gabriel and Allison had a previous relationship, but you don't really know what it's about. The pacing is good and the action's good. There are some characters who I thought were killed off in the first episode, but turns out they're still alive. And the motivation of some of the French characters I'm still not sure about, especially Didier. We meet one of his companions, Bob, later on, and I have no idea what his relationship is to the whole story in general. So this episode, like I said, things moved, but you're still kind of left confused by the time the credits roll. In episode 3, we get more revelations like Bob and what his motivations are. We find out a little more about Bolton on the English side and what his character is up to. We still don't know the details of Gabriel and Allison's past relationship. For some reason, they're holding that close to their vest. Maybe there's some big surprise or some big curve at the end. As far as the overall plan of Didier and Bob, it seems a little far-fetched. Maybe I don't understand it completely. Just seems like terrorizing London to get what they want. It's kind of a long shot. I mean, it's one of those things where it's 50-50, it may work, and what they're doing to get it seems a little much. They also opened some new threads, like Allison's fiance Daniel finding out about her and Gabriel. And we got Gabriel and Sabine starting a friendship or a relationship that could go in various directions. So where I stand after episode 3 is, part of me wants to finish the series, mainly because there's only 6 episodes in total, and I've watched half of them already. So in the back of my mind, I'm saying, well, you spent 3 hours watching this. why not just watch 3 more hours and see how it ends? If I knew that this series was like 8 or 10 episodes, and after watching the first 3, I would just stop here and cut my losses. And since I'm watching 3 episodes to inform you whether you should watch any of it at all, I'm going to have to say that I am out on Liaison.